All right, hello y'all. Uh, Welcome back to another video. Another just me talking. I got a couple things on my mind. Want to talk about it. Maybe get some conversation flowing. And this is where I have to do it. So first thing I want to start off with is I don't know if y'all have heard, but there's a guy. It was down in Florida, semi truck driver that made a U-turn in the middle of the Florida Turnpike. Um, he was trying to get to he wasn't trying. He was turning into the emergency lane between let's say north and south. The Going from like the southbound lanes to the northbound lanes on the turnpike, and in doing that, a minivan ran into the truck, killing a woman and her two children. That's bad enough. Come to find out, the person driving the semi truck was illegal. Um, he came over the border in Mexico. He is of Indian descent. When I say Indian, of course, I mean not Native American. I guess the best way to explain it. Not Native American, but Indian. Um, he had he had applied for a work visa and been denied by the Trump administration. A year later, he applied with the Biden administration and got approved. Then did whatever he had to do. Maybe he just applied. I'm not sure how that works in California, but uh, anyway, he got a California CDL, and for those that may not know, that's commercial driver's license. It's a license that says that you're qualified to drive a semi truck, or a commercial truck actually. And that's how he was out driving, or why he was driving. This one kind of hits home because I have CDLs. Um, to even get into a training academy, I mean, it was every bit as bad as getting my first clearance in the military. I had to give all kinds of paperwork and show birth certificate, social security card, uh, get a background check, driver's what is that called? It's a driver's record. I had to do all kinds of stuff to be able to get my CDLs. This person is illegal, which means there's no way that they had all that paperwork. They didn't have social security card. They had shown their birth certificate. It would have proved that they were an illegal. I'm not even sure if places outside of the U.S. have birth certificates, so that might not work. Nevertheless, he was illegal and got a commercial driver's license when he wasn't supposed to. And now 3 people are dead. I don't understand how anyone, even if you support, I know it as illegal immigration, um, but I don't want to use that term. I want this to be a conversation, so I don't want to use that term and offend anybody. However, that's the only thing I know it by. But when somebody comes to America without going through the process of coming to America, whatever you want to call it, I'm sorry if I offend you. That's not my intention. I'm going to call it illegal. Um, but even if you support illegal immigration, for whatever reason, I mean, the laws are there for a reason. It mainly it's to control who comes in and also control the amount of people that come in. Because let's face it, there are many places in America that are overcrowded. As a whole, it's not overcrowded because there's plenty of places out of the way in the forest, in the mountains, that kind of thing, in the desert. There's plenty of land for all these people, but those aren't the places that people want to move to. That's why there's plenty of land there. Um, so they want to control the immigration so that the cities don't get overcrowded. But the main thing is you don't want criminals. You don't want questionable people. You don't want people that are going to go out and drive a semi truck in a way that kills citizens. Um, and that brings me to the next point. This person was given, I guess you could call it like a faculties test. He was administered a test that there were 12 questions. There were 12 questions that he was asked, and he only gave the right answers on two. I assume these were about driving. Um, then on the road signs, there were 4 road signs posted, and he was supposed to identify them, and he could only identify one. So if he can't, oh, and they said that he never did talk to him like in English and stuff. So if he can't understand English and he doesn't know the rules of the road and he can't identify American road signs, he shouldn't be driving a moped on the roads, much less a semi truck. And the only reason he is because California has the sanctuary rules, laws, whatever. And they defend those. They're like, well, if they're here, we have no problem as long as they can tell us where they live, then they can get their licenses. That makes no sense. It makes none. Um, I've been renewing my license before and had people. Um, by the way, I live in an area with a lot of with a large Latino population. I don't know if these people are legal, illegal. I don't know. I'm the type of person, I don't really care. I care that they're coming over in droves. That bothers me because, and I'm just making up a number, but you might have 1,000 people come over that are legitimately, they want to pay tax, or they want to get a job, they want to pay taxes if they have to, they want to get a house, they want to raise their kids. Let's say 1,000 come with that plan. There's always that one in that 1,000 that wants to come over here, wants to join a gang, may already be in a cartel, wants to traffic drugs, wants to kidnap children to put them into the trafficking, whatever the case may be. So that is why we need to control the people coming in. We need to control the people. We need to know who's coming in, and the Border Patrol agents need to vet these people because you never know when they're here to do evil. You never know if they're here and can't mix, can't be assimilate to American culture, heritage, populations. all kinds of reasons. But this guy, like I say, he couldn't. They said that he couldn't speak English, and he could barely understand a few of the comments that were made to him. I think they had to get an interpreter. I'm pretty sure they did. And then he still failed the little bitty driver's test that they gave him. And it wasn't even what there wasn't even as much to the test that they gave him as what like we would take. It was just a couple of questions and a couple of road signs, not a lot. Um, so I guess my point is, as I've already said, there are reasons. It's not just, to be harsh on people. It's not to that we are heartless against somebody that needs to come here. Yes, there are people that claim that they need asylum, that they're afraid to go to their back to their country. Um, and if that is their true intention, if that is the truth, then okay, come through, go through the border, get your paperwork, go to the wherever. I think you go to an embassy and apply for your visas, or do it before you even get here. That'd be even better. But do it the right way. That way we know who's here, and if not you, if this person is a cartel member, hopefully they can find that before you get here and start just doing whatever in the streets. Um, so that's the big one. Um, the other thing that I kind of wanted to touch on is that I don't know if you know it. I don't understand how this happens, but these people come over and they go to somewhere, let's say like California, it's a sanctuary. They go to California, as I've already talked about, they can get a driver's license. Um, they can they get special treatment for like business loans. If you want to start a business, immigrant or not, if you want to start a business, no problem. Just go do the paperwork so that you're here legally. If you're here illegally, they can't take your taxes, and they're giving you a loan to start your business. That shouldn't happen, not at all. I can't get a business loan. Every time I've ever tried to get a business loan, they're willing to give me so little. No, I'm sorry, not a business loan. I said that completely wrong. Um, but like a grant, they want to give me so little that it's not enough to do anything with. Um, say I need $20,000 capital to start this business, to get equipment, to get an office set up, so a building, something like that. Say I need 20,000. They're willing to give me a grant of $2,500, $3,000. And there's a particular business. I wanted to start a machinist welding um, business, making replacement car parts and I don't know, all that. um, so anyway, just to get started, that's what I needed. I actually needed more than that, but I could get by with, instead of having a nice computer controlled mill or lathe or anything like that, I could get by with starting out with like a tabletop lathe instead of getting uh, a nice intelligent welder. I could start out with a Harbor Freight welder. That that's where I got the 20,000 from. So needed 20,000, and yeah, they at first it was 24. I don't remember, but it was like 24.78, let's say. And I'm like, no, I mean, I'll turn that down. I can't do it. Is there anything else we can do? And the person I was talking to said, well, I'll get back to you in a few days. Came back in a few days, and they said, uh, would 31, 31.30, I believe, help? No, like that. No, I just, I couldn't do anything with that. So, I mean, that, and there again, my point with that is I can't get a loan, and I'm a citizen. I am I'm a disabled veteran. I fought for this country, in service of this country for 25 years. I can't get a business loan to actually start a business. I can get a loan, or I keep saying loan. I can get the grant, but it's so small that it's not even worth worrying about. But then these people get loans and grants and all kinds of stuff to start restaurants and lawn care businesses and all kinds of stuff. They get not only that amount, but enough that it's like 6 months. They get the amount to get every single thing that they can imagine that they would ever need for this business, plus enough to live off of for 6 months to a year until the business takes off. And I can't get anything. They get health care, they get, actually, you name it, and they can get it just by walking across the border into a place like California. And I'm not heartless. Believe me, I'm not heartless. I understand that some of these countries are horrible places. Some of these countries uh, have environments that are just not only unsavory, but that they're mentally and physically taxing. I understand that, and I do feel for the people that are born into those places. But it's fairly easy to come over. Don't get me wrong, I understand it's not easy to become a citizen. It's a lot of studying, a lot of testing, things like that. I understand that. But I'm not even talking about citizenship. I'm talking about just being here legally, being here on a visa. It's too easy. Um, and I think that's the way it should be. And I think I support closing the borders. I support deporting those that are here without documentation, that didn't do it the right way, for all the reasons that I've already named, that I've already explained. Um, and these people, the illegals, also, uh, many of them, because they're undocumented, they're usually paid under the table. And because they don't have an income to show, they can get things like food stamps. And or all government assistance for that matter. But food stamps in particular, There's a lot in the news. A lot of people are talking about food stamps. You may know them as EBT, you may know them as SNAP. They're food stamps because some people are being removed, they're taken off of food stamps, and then there are others that are having their food stamps amount reduced. The main reason for this is many of these people have been on them for years and years and years. Um, it, they were food stamp. Actually, all government assistance is meant to be uh, temporary unless the governing factor, the disability, is permanent. If you're on food stamps or welfare just because I lost my job and I can't find work, then it's temporary. It's supposed to be you are steady looking for work. You're steady putting in applications and applying and going to talk to um, potential employers. And as soon as you get the job, then you give up the assistance. That's the way it's supposed to be. But there are many people. There's a lot of people on YouTube, TikTok. I don't have any. By the way, I don't have any social media. I have a YouTube channel. That's it. Um, but people take TikToks and put them on YouTube, so that's where I'm seeing them. Even on Instagram, the Instagram, I don't know what it's called, like the Instagram stories, Instagram shorts, I don't know. But they're taking those too. But there are plenty of people that are like, hey, I'm 32 years old and I've never had a job. I've been on food stamps since I was 19 years old. My mom showed me how to get on them. I got on them. Now I have, 3 kids, 5 kids, it doesn't matter, 9 kids, however many. Um, they just took me from $4,000 a month down to 300 a month. First of all, these people that are saying they're getting, 2,500, 3,200, $4,000 a month in food stamps. That is ridiculous. There is absolutely no way. I don't care what you're buying, you will not be going through $4,000 a month in food stamps. And if you are, then you're selling them because you can't. Well, I shouldn't say that you can't go through that many food stamps, that much in food stamps. You can't go through that much in food. There's absolutely. I can't imagine. I've tried to like think what $4,000 of food looks like. I mean, that's $1,000 a month in food or a week in food. $1,000. I There's no way. I just don't see any way that that could be possible. Um, but then here's my story on that. Um, when I retired, I say retired. If you don't know, I was mandatory medically retired from the military. I was having cognitive issues. I was having personality and emotional issues, and then I started having physical issues. So I actually fought from about 2018 until 2022. I fought against being medically retired. I wanted to stick around. I wanted to do my best because I wanted to become a warrant officer. All that aside, doesn't none of that really even matters. Um, but so I get out. I get medically retired, and my other benefits. I didn't have Social Security. I didn't have Medicare. I didn't have a VA rating. I didn't have any of that. So I applied for food stamps, and it was the plan was very temporary. Like as soon as any of this stuff kicks in, I'll be all right. Me and my family, we'll be okay. I got denied. Um, First, they said that it was because I own things. Like you have your own house. I'm like, yeah, it's paid off. Like, well, you can't have your own house. So you're saying I have to sell my house and move into a rental place to be able to get food stamps? Well, yeah, you can't own a house. I mean, you can have income if you sell your home. Also, you own a car. Yeah, and it's paid off. Well, you can't own a car. So you're telling me I would have to sell my car and go get, say, an old junker and make payments on it and sell my house and move into a rental property, creating two new bills. I can't afford to eat now, but you want me to create two new bills to qualify for food stamps. That makes absolutely no sense. None. I know, I personally know people that are on food stamps that they have cars. The lady that I was talking to actually told me. She goes, "Yeah, we get that a lot, but it's probably if you really dig deep, it's probably not in their name. So they're driving a car that's in somebody else's name, or they're living in a home that's in somebody else's name, so that they can get their food stamps, welfare, all that." So there again, I can't qualify. Oh, well, let me finish. Then I reapplied. I appealed it. Then they came and said that they take the last, like, I think it was 3 years. I don't know, but it's like they take the last 3 years and figure up how much you should get, or if you even qualify. And because I was in the military, I had steady work with steady pay over that time, however much it is. It may not even be 3 years. It could be 3 months, 6 months. I don't know, but whatever time that is, I'm just kind of, I threw a number out there. Um, then it wasn't because of the car. It wasn't because of the house. It was because uh, I averaged too much over the span that they look at. Like, yeah, but now I'm not doing that. I was removed. I was kicked out. I'm done. So I didn't get them. Now those benefits I was talking about, the VA, uh, my my retirement insurance, Social Security, all that stuff. I that's working. That the things that I earned while in the military have kicked in now, so I'm okay. Proving that it would have been temporary, very temporary. I mean, I don't even think I'd have been on any of them for a year, maybe 6 months, but definitely not a year. But they denied me. You have these other people that lie. There are people on these videos that I see that they lie, and a lot of times they're admitting that they lie. Um, they lie about where they live, if they even. Some of them say they don't. I don't have a home. I'm homeless. Or they, I guess from what that lady said, they'll They'll be living in a 3-bedroom townhome, but saying that they have a 1-bedroom flat. They got, 3 or 4 kids and no no spouse, nobody helping them. Then come to find out it's not true. There's a lady that got caught that I saw that she was claiming 5 kids. She only had 3. She had said that she was single and homeless, but in fact, I guess her boyfriend, the father of one of her children, lived with her, and he was working, uh, and she was making money from her videos. But she's like, I'm homeless and don't have a job, because I guess because it was YouTube and TikTok and Snapchat and all that was paying her. I guess she thought she wasn't going to get caught, but she had a guy that was living there and helping her with the bills too. And she was getting all this, and I don't remember exactly how much, but she was getting food stamps and welfare and whatever. Um, Yet me and people like me can't get it. Makes no sense and shouldn't be that way. People should have enough care to leave those benefits for the people that actually need them, quit being lazy, and go out and get a job. Well, I guess they have to now. That was the main point of bringing this up. Because of the big, beautiful bill, almost everybody, almost everyone that has government assistance has had that government assistance reduced. Number one, because it's supposed to be temporary. Since it's supposed to be temporary, you have to be actively out looking for work. You can't even get it anymore. You don't qualify for it if you aren't working at least 80 hours a month. Now, a lot of people are going, well, if I work 80 hours a month, then I probably don't qualify. Yep, you're probably right. Not, it's not guaranteed. You may still qualify, but in a lot of cases, you're not going to qualify, or you're going to qualify for way less. So, but that's the requirement. You have to do that, and then they also change things up so that there are only certain foods. And I think I talked about this in the last video. You can go back and check that one out. So I won't go into great detail, but there are a lot of foods that you just can't get with your food stamps, your SNAP, your EBT anymore. Uh, Sweets, snacks, colas, um, energy drinks, juices with less than 50% juice in them, um, pre 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 prepared food, no hot food. In other words, something that's already been cooked, you can't get it. So they're doing this to make it so that number one, it keeps people from getting $2,000 worth of food stamps a month and then going out and buying nothing but um, chips and sodas and Kool-Aids and junk food, you know, because those things, the chips and the cakes and ice cream, at that amount lead to obesity, and obesity leads to higher doctor bills, higher doctor visits, and that leads to us also paying for the Medicare that they're getting. So our taxes in those cases for those people that are eating all that junk food and then being obese, or what, any number of conditions, any number of um, diseases, when they get those, then we're paying for that too. So we're paying for the cause and the treatment. with our taxes. And that's what the big, beautiful bill is stopping. It's making it so that not only will the taxes that we pay go to the right people, the people that need it, the people that are only going to use it for a short time, but it's going to only pay for Medicare for those that are normally healthy. That doesn't sound right, but that are of average health. So that cost will go down. May even be saving us some in taxes because once they realize, wow, we're collecting all this money in Social Security and welfare taxes and all that, Medicare taxes, we're collecting all this and it's just building, building, building. Nobody's using it. Then they might reduce it. Maybe. It's government. I doubt it, but could happen. Um, so it's a great thing. It's an amazing thing if it works the way the way it does in my mind. Uh, I've heard some explanations by different people, people in the president's cabinet. Um, I've heard some experts talk about how things are working and what their opinion is of what's going to end up happening. This is just mine. I know certain things, and then my hope, my opinion is it's going to save a lot. It's going to save a lot of lives. It's going to save a lot of people's health, and it should save in costs for the government assistance, the Medicare, food stamps, the welfare, that kind of thing. Which, in my mind, that's great. Anything that'll save money, build it up for the people that need it, the people that truly need it, disabled, the truly, and there again, truly disabled, because I've seen some people that are called disabled that I know some. What am I talking about? I know some people that supposedly their back is so jacked up that they can't walk, but then I see them get on a trampoline or I see them run around the yard with their kids. Like, no. Um, I have never, even at the doctor's office, even I think that's why I had to fight so hard to get my VA benefits. I had to fight so hard because I never lied, I never put on a show. It's just not in me to do that. If I say that I'm hurting, I really am hurting, and I have a high tolerance for pain. So if I say that I'm hurting, it would probably be excruciating for a lot of other people. Uh, but there are tons and tons of people that have it worse than I do. It's so many people. I've seen people. Here's an example. I am qualified to get the handicap sticker on my, or handicap plates, handicap sticker, handicap placard to go on my rear view mirror. I qualify for it. I I've had the people at the tag office ask me if I was ready to get it. Do you want to go ahead and get it? No. I have never, even if I'm in pain, I've never been in a situation where I couldn't walk up to the door of Walmart or Ingles or a restaurant. Even on those days that I'm in pain, I push through and I'm like, you know what? People have it worse than me. I'll just walk. And I'm not saying everybody should do that. I am not suggesting that at all. I'm not better than anybody else. That's just me. That's my mind. That's my tolerance for pain. Uh, so I've chosen not to get it. Now, that's not to say that within the next 6 months, I'm not going to get it. Um, I may be forced to get it after today. My birthday is coming up. No need for happy birthdays. It's not a day that I really celebrate. I'm too old for that. Um, but thank you if you do wish me So in September, the beginning of September is my birthday, so I have to go get tags for my car soon. And today, it's Wednesday, the 20th of August. I have an appointment with a doctor that's going to check my back and neck to see if I need surgery. Depending on what he says and does, I may have to get the placard, the sticker, the license plate. So that could change. But I'm just saying for right now, the way I feel, the way I think, as long as I can walk up to that door, I'm not getting the handicap stuff because there's people that need it worse than I do. And I know there are some people that I've seen that I'm like, why is that person parking way down there when they can barely walk? You go like look around their cars, like they don't have a handicap sticker. Maybe it's because they think like I do. But like I say, I've seen people that I just don't understand why they don't have one. Maybe they couldn't get it. Maybe they chose not to get it, but they should have it, and they don't. I'm not taking away from somebody like that. They need it worse than I do. So that's my thought on it. That's the way I feel about it. Um, Last subject. The I forget what they're calling it, but the tipping mentality. I want to touch on that. Not touch on it. I want to actually kind of deep dive into it. I am a tipper. My wife and I believe in tipping people. Um, we tip well. Many times it's over tip. Um, we have both been in, that type of service where you receive tips, and we both appreciated it immensely. She's done it for way longer than I did. Mine was like when I was in my teens. So we believe in it. We tip well, but we also understand that a tip is not guaranteed. A tip is a gratuity. Gratuity meaning gracious. We are gracious for someone's service, because they went above and beyond in what they did, what they said, how they treated us, that kind of thing. Uh, if the service is bad, the gratuity is going to be very low. I will never leave a place of with that kind of service. I'm sorry, my mind's not working 100%, so some of these words that I'm trying to come up with are not coming to mind. But in the places where tips are the norm, we won't leave without leaving a tip. No, if the service is the worst ever, then we're still going to leave a quarter. The reason we leave a quarter is to let them know we didn't just forget your tip. You were horrible. But then, if our service is great, we have a server with a very good personality, a great character, that kind of thing, then we're going to leave a tip above and beyond the 15, 18, maybe even 20%. Um, we have, I think once, I was going to say several times, but no, I think it was only once. We had a server at a restaurant, and it was a fairly nice restaurant, but we had a server at a restaurant that was so absolutely wonderful. Their tip was nearly 40% because they were just that good. They earned it. They earned that much of a tip. Now, on the other hand, tips are not guaranteed. As I said, I'm going to leave a tip, even if it's a small one, just to let you know how well you did. But they're not guaranteed. Even in a restaurant, you go to a sit down restaurant, a tip is not guaranteed. It's sort of expected, but it's not. The restaurant industry, in particular, there are others, but the restaurant industry has gotten away from paying people like a minimum wage. They want to include tips as part of the wage. So what they do is they pay, for instance, $2.50 because they know that you're going to get at least $5 in tips every hour. That puts you at minimum wage. Being a server at a restaurant deserves more than minimum wage. And by the way, I'm going by a minimum wage here in Georgia a while back. I think they've changed it. I'm not sure. Um, but at the time that is in my mind, that minimum wage was like 7.25 or something. But that's why restaurants pay the way they do. I think bars do the same thing. Bars say you're going to make at least this much in a 1 hour period. I've heard of some places, like some bars, that they don't pay you anything. They're like, you're going to make enough in tips to cover your minimum wage. And that's not right. A tip is not guaranteed. What about those people that eat at a restaurant and don't leave a tip? So now, and if it's slow on that day, then you have two customers in an hour and neither one of them leave a tip. So you just made 250 in that hour. Yeah, but it's going to average out because at dinner time it's going to pick up. No, that's not what the law says. The law says you will pay this much per hour. They don't say you must average this much in this many hours. It's not, no. So when it comes to tips, I do understand that there are those people out there that have those type of jobs that depend on tips. But instead of depending on the tips and instead of expecting the tip from the customer, what should actually be happening is everybody, the customer and the employee, should be expecting the employer to pay that minimum wage just in case if they don't make that tip. Just in case if they don't make enough to cover that wage in that hour. The employer should be paying at least that minimum wage so that the server doesn't have to worry about claiming this, claiming that, not claiming, you know, whatever. Uh, because I do know that a lot of people in the service industry, they only claim what they have to. And I understand that. I get it. So let's say that they're making the 250 and they need to get up to the 725 and it'll be a few cent more this hour, a few cent less that hour, that kind of thing. But they're gonna pretty much go for I made is it $5? Yeah, $5 tip. I made 5.10 this hour. I made 4.90 this hour. So they're going to average it out, even if they did make $50 in that hour. they're gonna hit right on that minimum wage. But it shouldn't even be that way. It should the tips, and I think that is actually I just now realized it. No taxes on tips. That is probably why that's come about, because they're paying taxes on the tips, so they have to claim their tips. And since they claim their tips, they make it to that minimum wage. So now that they don't have to claim their tips, then the employers will be forced to pay them at least minimum wage. And hey, I get it. You kind of halfway expect that they're going to make the tips if they're in a service industry. So minimum wage. That's all. That's the minimum you have to pay them. So pay a minimum wage, and then when they make a $50 an hour tip, then that $50 goes in their pocket. They don't have to give up half of it for taxes. They don't have to give up half of it because they have to claim it to make up for what you're not paying them in a wage. But the whole point of what I'm saying is that it also, at the same time, should not be expected. Um, there are there are tip jars everywhere. I've been in a couple of convenience stores where when you go up to pay for your gas and your whatever you're getting, your Gatorade, well, you go up there and it'll have a jar sitting there. It's tips. For what? You're running a register in a convenience store. You didn't get me anything. You didn't prepare anything. You didn't bring me anything, and you're expecting a tip. Um, and they are making a minimum, at least a minimum wage. They agreed to accept that wage when they accepted the position. They are not in a service industry. So something like that tips are getting to where everybody wants a tip for everything, but they're not doing anything to get that tip. So tips should just not be expected by anyone, even in a service industry. Should not be expected. They should be greatly appreciated. But if you're not in a service industry, tips shouldn't even be in the conversation. Um, and the main reason I'm bringing this up is I've seen several videos of people, oh, they're DoorDash. They'll come up and they're like, are you so and so? Yes. And you didn't leave me a tip, so then they'll throw the bag of food at the customer or on the steps. One guy, his coffee, they had all he ordered was a coffee. He said, I don't have a car, so I had it door dashed or whatever. And the guy comes up. He says, "Are you whatever? Are you Evan?" He says, "Yes, I am." He said, "So you're the guy that refuses to leave a tip, huh?" And he takes the coffee and slams it down on the sidewalk, goes back and gets in his car and leaves. Aside from all I mean, most people, I'm sure, I'd beat the crap out of them. I'd do this. I'd do that. And even besides calling and complaining, all that aside, that's not really what I'm talking about. But the tip, would it be nice? Yes. Door dashers and who else? I can't think of any of the other ones, but these people that deliver food and they're just delivery people, on a whole, do not make a lot of money. Um, they don't get paid very well. So a tip, it would be nice. If you can't afford to give a tip to these people, no different than going to a restaurant. If you can't afford the tip, if you If the tip is a problem, then you probably shouldn't be using these services. It's just the way I look at it. Like you say, is it guaranteed? No. If that coffee, that's why I don't like paying tips up front, like DoorDash. Evidently, you pay tips up front when you pay for your coffee to be delivered. Well, you don't know. Maybe it takes 2 hours to get your coffee to you. And now you don't want to give a tip. Like, it took 2 hours. My coffee's cold. I'm not tipping that, but you already paid it. So I don't believe in tipping up front. Tipping up front means, to me, in my mind, tipping up front means, well, I've got my money, so I don't have to treat you any kind of way. I can treat you like a dog, not a dog like this one laying next to me, like a stray dog. But I can treat you horribly because I already got my tip. There's nothing we can do about that now. So I don't believe in upfront tips. That's just not a thing I'm into. I don't believe in it at all. But a tip, nonetheless. Somebody brings me my coffee. I don't really drink coffee, very rarely. But if they bring me my coffee, they've driven their car, they're getting paid very little. Is it enough to pay for their gas? Probably. But that's just about it. It's like their gas and a very little bit to go in their pocket. So a tip would be great so that it's worth going out and doing these type of services. Um, it's not required. If the service is horrible, give them a horrible tip. But tip them something. Let them know that either they did a great job, they were just average, they just did their job and that's it, or that they did horrible. Leave them a nickel. Well, here, thank you for coming out and, giving up your time, your day to deliver. And I'm going to keep with the coffee, my coffee, but it took you 2 hours to get here. My coffee is cold, so here's a nickel for your time. Or, wow, I just have put my phone down from ordering the coffee and you're already on the way. That's awesome. My coffee was, I don't know how much coffee is. My coffee was $3, but you know what? You were here in 6 minutes from the time that I ordered. So here's $1. $1 on a $3 coffee? That's good. So just something that was on my mind because I've been seeing a lot of videos about it. The tip mentality, the tip society, something's got to be done. I think that's just my opinion, but I think that's what part of the big beautiful bill, the whole not taxing tips, I think that's what it's for, is so that companies will have to start paying at least a minimum wage. Um, the whole thing with with all government assistance, that's got to be reeled in. That's getting ridiculous. And the border is a big one. That there's so many ins and outs, ups and downs, that there's all kinds of reasons why the border needs to be secure, and every person that comes into the U.S. should be documented. And if you're not documented, you need to be sent back across the border until you become documented. So just wanted to touch on these things. That's another hour. If you have anything that you want to discuss, you want me to bring up, you want me to do a live on, put it down in the comments. Let me know your thoughts on these subjects and others. And until next time, we'll see you.